welcome to today's Artifact Spotlight. Now, when most people think of bread, they think of bread that's made out of wheat, flour, and also has yeast in it, so it rises, and it's baked in the oven, so more like bread that we would eat with sandwiches. But what I want to talk about today is a different type of bread, and that's cornbread. Now, this artifact here is a cast iron cornbread pan. It's made by the Griswold Manufacturing Company in Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was manufactured roughly between the dates of 1900 and 1940, so it's from somewhere in that time period. Now, Native Americans, they were the first people to make bread out of corn. They would have ground up the corn into cornmeal. They would have mixed it with water and baked it in loaves in the fire. And they would have taught early English settlers and also enslaved Africans how to make bread from corn just that way. Around the time of the Civil War in the 1860s, we start to see a rise in popularity of cornmeal as a part of everyone's diet. Corn was cheap, it was easy to produce, and especially during wartime shortages and rationing, it was something that was much more easily accessible than wheat for flour. Around that same time, we also start to see cast iron becoming the preferred material for cookware and bakeware, so anything from cast iron stoves to cast iron pans just like this one. Now, around the antebellum time period, that's when we start to see the division between white cornmeal or yellow cornmeal, and those preferences arise. But it really wouldn't be until decades later that the debate between sugar or no sugar in cornbread really starts to come up. For most Southerners, especially during the 1860s, they would have been making cornbread out of any version of cornmeal that was cheapest, most accessible, easiest to get. So it would have come in several different versions, and they would have eaten different versions as well, depending on the materials on hand. Now, there are several different traditional types of cornbread. One of them is called ash cakes, and those are cornbread cakes that are baked directly in the fire. They're taken out, the burnt parts are scraped off and eaten that way. Another version is called hoe cakes, and those are a little bit smaller. They get their name from being able to be baked on the blade of a hoe, or sometimes they were often baked on large flat griddles as well. Another version is called Johnny cakes, and those actually get their name from what is believed to be a frontier pronunciation of the words journey cake, because Johnny cakes were baked and taken by travelers who were going on long journeys, and so they would have eaten them throughout their travels as well. This pan right here is actually to make corn sticks. So you can see that they're long and flat. So they would have been crispy on the outside and soft on the inside, and if you're like me, eaten with a lot of butter. Now, cornbread was often used as a whole meal as well, especially during the antebellum time period. It would have been doused in something like cane syrup or sorghum molasses and eaten that way. So that combination of the cornbread, the cornmeal, and the syrup would have provided the energy and carbohydrates that farmers needed for day-long farm work. Now, there are lots of different types of cornbread today, especially with the additions of buttermilk and eggs and bacon fat. It's certainly transformed this bread of necessity into more of a tasty treat that's enjoyed with classic traditional Southern food, and it's still a part of the classic Southern diet today. So whatever way you like to make it, or whatever way you like to eat it, I hope you enjoy. And thank you for following along with us today, and let us know if you have any questions.